Hi, everybody. So, I want to talk about a post that I saw in one of the support groups. It was a girl saying that she had asked her ex, she said, "So, who's dropping off our son in the morning?" And the response was, "What's it to you?" And her comment was, this is so frustrating. Why does he answer a question with a question? Why can't he just give me a straight answer? And this is what I want to touch on. Again, this is why you cannot have conversations with narcissists. And I want to talk about specifically about why you cannot ask them questions. Questions are the absolute worst. If you're going to say something to a narcissist, a question is by far the worst thing that you could possibly give to a narcissist. Here's why: because a question, out of all the other kinds of statements, declarative, interrogative, something else, imperative, um, out of all of them, the question is you wanting some information from them. And there's intrinsic power that you surrender to them when you ask a question, because they're like, oh, does somebody want an answer? Why, yes, yes. Oh, I'll give you some answer sprinkles. And they're gonna use that opportunity to fuck with you. Simply put, they're either going to give you a different answer, or they're going to be like, well, what's it to you? How much is it worth to you? They're gonna mess with you. They're either going to use it to deflect you or to confuse you, or they're going to bribe you or blackmail you, or they're going to suck you into something. They can lie to you. Who's taking Billy to school? Uh, this girl I've been seeing, she'll take him. She said she'd take him, right? It's no girl. She's just gonna say something like that just to irritate you, or some guy, right? This random dude I brought home. He's gonna take him in the morning. Joe Bob, Uh, Asking questions is an absolute mistake. It is a 100% mistake. Um, if you can't go no contact, if you have to do gray rock, there's not really such a way of having a gray rock question. And you've definitely got to rethink your communication strategy, because questions is where it completely goes wrong with a narcissist. So, what can you do? Well, first of all, before you ever ask a question, you've got to recognize that a question is always a mistake. It's always a mistake to ask a question. Um, there's never a satisfactory outcome from a question, period, because it will always ignite a volley of hoovering and ultimately end with you going crazy. Um, I can think of very few times I ever asked my ex a question and it ended up going well. It doesn't. The only times I can think of that it does go well is if they just really don't have time, or if they're too busy chasing some other major source of supply. They just, I don't know, in a moment of frailty, give a truthful answer. But those are very few and far between. So, how do you get them to answer your question? You don't. You just recognize that, number one, questions are always going to get false answers. So, knowing this, if you ask a question and you get a false answer, you can mark that off on the possibilities of what's actually going to happen. So, who's taking Billy to school? This girl. Okay, right. So some random girl's not actually taking him to school, and even if she does, at least he's still going to school, right? You got to learn to sort of just see through it. So understand the response you're going to get is a bullshit response. It's not the honest response. So at least you can interpret that um, with some level of objectivity. Um, the other thing is just decide before you ever ask a question if it's even worth asking. Uh, you know, does he have a history of not taking Billy to school? No. Well, then don't ask, because it's not worth getting yourself sucked into a circus over something that's really just not worth it to begin with. He always takes Billy to school. Billy makes it to school somehow. let that be that. The day Billy doesn't go to school, or ends up at school, or goes to school with a stranger, take that shit to court. Take it to court. Hands down. But until that day comes, just remember, every time you ask them a question, you're giving them the power to be like, oh, let's see, what does the little one want? Ooh, they want an answer. I shall give you confusion. I shall give you misconception. I shall gaslight you. You know what? I'll just tell you I'm going to do something and then not do it. It's the ultimate invitation to get fucked with. So don't do it. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, or share, and I'll see you on the next video.